Securing Your Wealth in 2023. In this educational episode, I'm going to address how to get ready for unprecedented taxes, inflation, and market volatility. You need to protect yourself because we are headed for a recession, and I'll explain why. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades, helping thousands of people prepare for a comfortable retirement or any other long-term goal so that they will reach that goal and not outlive their money. Well, I have discovered that there's 3 big dangers that cause most retirees to outlive their money. And we are headed for unprecedented rates of taxes, inflation, and market volatility because of irresponsible government spending and the printing of money. We saw, because of COVID-19, the government spend twice as much as they brought in revenue. If you're not aware, basically the IRS in 2019, 2020 collected about $3.8 trillion in tax. They refund about $800 billion. They net $3 trillion. Well, they spent more than double that because of COVID-19. If you were making $100,000 and you spent $200,000, you've got to somehow pay off that $100,000 of debt that you borrowed. Well, instead of doing that, the government said, we've got a really nice excuse to pass a whole bunch of other stimulus spending. And with all the spending packages, they are now spending 3.5 times what they bring in revenue. If you were making $100,000 and you were spending $350,000, how long could you do that? So we have this perfect economic storm going on, and I'm concerned for you. I want to help you protect yourself from this negative impact. Now, these dangers that are going to happen are rising taxes, inflation, because they've been printing money faster than ever before, and that causes market volatility. So when we experience these things, I've weathered recessions during my career. I remember when I first started in 1974, one of the biggest recessions was back in 1980, and that was the energy crisis. And we saw a lot of people get hurt really bad. And I learned a lot of lessons back then that I share on this YouTube channel and in my books. And ever since then, I have never lost due to recessions. I have been protected when the markets went down. And I've been able to come through with flying colors using max-funded indexed universal life insurance contracts. I'm recession-proof. I eliminate these dangers up here on the screen, okay? And I'll show you how. But see, government's going to have to raise taxes because they've been spending so much, and they do it directly or indirectly. We're talking about income taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes, which are death taxes, corporate taxes. And when you raise corporate taxes, that causes corporations to have to raise the prices of their goods and services. They lay off people, and this is what causes market volatility and recessions to occur. It's like domino effect, okay? And so these 3 things are happening, and they will continue to get worse before they get better, in my opinion. And so if you want to protect yourself in 2023 and probably into 2024, 2025, I think it's going to happen for several years. I would recommend you explore repositioning your serious cash into properly structured, max-funded, indexed insurance contracts. Why? Because you eliminate these dangers. How? Well, first of all, the first opportunity when you put your money into an indexed universal life insurance contract, your money accumulates tax-free. And that has been protected and grandfathered in the Internal Revenue Code for over 108 years under Section 72E of the code. You can access your money when you need it. You don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half. If you have an emergency, if you get laid off, if you get sick or disabled, this is what gets people into trouble, especially during recessions, when you lose your job or whatever. If you want access to your money without triggering tax or penalties, then you want to make yourself immune from that. So IUL is tax-free. But also when they print money. Now, you show me any country in the history of planet Earth that when they were spending, that they spent their way out of the recession by printing more money. You show me any time that turned out good. But that's what the government's been doing. They've been printing money like crazy. And then they wonder, inflation. And so inflation goes, and then what do the feds do? The feds then have to raise interest rates because of inflation. And they raise interest rates to where in one single year, January of the year 2022 compared to January of 2023, mortgage rates more than doubled, okay? And that's because the feds are trying to slow things down, the inflation rate. Well, so that causes the market volatility that we're talking about. So I like to link my returns to the things that inflate. Now, I can't believe how many financial advisors don't know how to do this, but Indexed Universal Life was designed to basically help you benefit, come along for the ride, so to speak, when we have inflation. I don't like inflation any more than anybody, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. Back in 1980, 82, when inflation hit double digits, Jimmy Carter was the problem there. And when inflation hit 10%, I was earning 15.5% tax-free on my universal life insurance policies, okay? I've always earned about 5% or more than the inflation rate at the time. That has been true clear until, March of 2020, COVID-19 to March of 2021. In March of 2020, the market dropped 30%. That spells opportunity. When there's anxiety, there's opportunity. Many savvy IUL agents told their clients, link to a one-year point-to-point with no cap. Now, normally, we don't tell clients to link to a one-year point-to-point with no cap because they'll subtract 5 percentage points off of whatever the return is. And so if the return is average, 12, and you're only going to net 7. And so it'd be better to earn 12 and net, 10 or 11. And so you normally don't tell people to do that. But when the market dropped 30%, the chance that it was going to go up substantially in 1 year was highly likely. And it did. In March of 2021, the S&P was up 66.33%. You subtract 5% off of that, and your net rate of return was 61.33%. And so when inflation was 15, even though the consumer price index says inflation was 8.9 or whatever it was, the true inflation rate is about triple that. Back in the early 80s, the government changed the way they report the consumer price index because they could not afford to pay Social Security recipients the actual cost of living increase. So they changed from comparing the same basket of goods, apples, to the same basket of apples the next year to oranges, so to speak. So they can compare the price of an 8-ounce filet mignon steak last year to 8 ounces of hamburger this year. And so when they report inflation is 8 or 9%, just triple that. The actual rate of inflation is more 15, 25, 27%. Hello? People go to the gas pump. Gasoline went up almost double. Used cars, food, bacon, you name it. And so people know what the truth is, but they wonder, they said it's only 8 or 9%. They must be right. They're the government. No, it's smoke and mirrors. So in that year, our clients locked in gains of 25% when inflation was 15 or 61%. Some even locked in gains of 158% because inflation helped them instead of hinder them. Hopefully, you want to look more into why and how that does that. And then last of all is you use indexing. With Indexed Universal Life, you don't lose when the market goes down. That market volatility doesn't mean anything because when the market goes down, you don't lose. You may not make much of anything when the market is going down, but you don't lose. And as soon as the market turns around, you start making money again. This is why during the Great Recession from 2000 to 2012, when people had money in the market, they saw $1 million nest egg dwindle in value down to $600,000 twice, 2001 to 2003, and again in 2008, and it barely came back to above break even in 2012. During that same 12-year period, Indexed Universal Life using indexing, where you did not lose in those downturns. You may not have made much of anything, but you didn't lose. But the other years you made money, your $1 million would have grown to $2.5 million, some even to $3 million At the same end of that 2012, when most Americans who had their money in the market were barely back to break even. They didn't make anything in 12 years. So indexing provides safety of principal. So this brings us to the greatest strengths of IUL, and this is what you can do to protect your wealth in the year 2023. Begin as soon as possible to do a strategic rollout. That's not a rollover. Get your money out of those IRAs or 401ks invested in the market. Do it strategically with the least tax impact, but reposition it into properly structured IUL contracts. I can hook you up with somebody who can help you do that correctly. But why? Because you want to have the ability to access your money when you need it. You want liquidity. You want safety from that point forward, so when the market goes down, you don't lose. When the market goes up, you get to benefit, and you earn predictable rates of return. Now, you're not going to always earn 25 and 61%, but you probably average by rebalancing around 11. Many people have averaged 11.17% since 1997 when IUL was first introduced, and they were able to net over 10% cash on cash, meaning $1 million nest egg in an IUL policy, if you're retiring, can generate a 10% payout, $100,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting principal. The financial services industry wants you to only pull out 4% because the average person with money in the market is really only earning 3.5%, according to Dalbar, who studies investor behavior. So what's my advice for you for 2023 and the ensuing years, 2024, 2025? I see some major volatility. I see taxes going through the roof. I see inflation continuing to cut the purchasing power of the American dollar in half every 5 years, meaning the cost of living doubles every 5 years. You're going to need $200,000 in 5 years to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread that $100,000 buys today at the current rate of inflation. And so this is my favorite vehicle. And so this is why in my book, I call a property structured maximum funded IUL a laser fund. Now, laser is an acronym. This is LSRR, liquidity, safety, rate of return, and the tax benefits. And you look at most investments and you score them on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as can you access your money when you need it without triggering penalties or tax? How safe is it during market downturns? Can you earn a predictable rate of return? And are they tax-free or just tax-deferred? And a laser fund comes through with flying colors. Your score is going to be way higher than money in IRAs or 401ks invested in the market. So liquidity, safety, rate of return, and the tax advantages are the 4 pillars of a properly structured IUL contract that will help you weather 2023, 2024, 2025 because of unprecedented taxes, inflation, and market volatility. I want to make you recession-proof and eliminate those dangers. Does that make sense? So if this is intriguing you and you would like to learn more, let me show you how you can study and also talk to a specialist to see how one can work for you. So I want to gift you a copy of my most recent best-selling book. It's 300 pages of information. It's actually 2 books in one. This side is about 200 pages, 14 chapters, with all kinds of charts and graphs and explanations if you're a left-brain learner. If you're more of a right-brain learner, you learn by stories and examples. You flip it over and read this one. This is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories. If you want to use both your left brain and right brain, then you can read both of these books. But if you go to Amazon, it's only $20 if you purchase it there. Thank you. But you don't need to. I'll gift you a copy free. I'll pay for the book. To claim your free copy, you simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game, but I'll cover the rest of that cost and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you and I'll do it priority mail. And while you're in there claiming your free copy of this book, check out the audio and video versions. If you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there are educational webinars we teach on a weekly basis. They're free. They're no charge. You can schedule an appointment to talk to an IUL specialist that I've trained, and they'll create an illustration for you at no cost, no obligation, so that you can see how a properly structured IUL policy can work for you in your particular set of circumstances, and how you can begin to roll money out of those other investments that you have into something that will help you weather the tough times we have ahead of us.